So, September is National Organic Month, which is a good time to take stock of the types of foods you're eating and what is in the foods you are eating. Joining us now is nurse practitioner Allie Burch, who is also the founder of the Super Kitchen Project. Hi, Allie. Well, welcome to the show. So, we hear all the time organic foods are best. Do we have to eat organic food all the time?
Yes, well, hi, good morning, everybody. It's so great to be here. And yes, well, controversy has long surrounded the question of the nutritional differences between crops grown organically or using now conventional methods, with studies going back to the 1940s. So let's separate this for a minute.
Okay.
The short answer is yes. Eating organic is important as it reduces our risk of exposure to harmful pesticides and other chemicals that have been shown to lead to disease. As well, when we eat organic, we get more phytonutrients, which have antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties. These chemicals boost our immunity, reduce inflammation, and promote healthy metabolism, and our detox pathways overall are protective and healing in many ways. But it's important to note that just eating whole foods, either conventional or organic, really leads to better health outcomes. So to answer your question, while I think it's important to follow as much of an organic diet as we can, this is not our normal. It's hard to do this in our normal life, so that's okay. We do the best job that we can, and by doing that, we will reduce our toxin exposure by eating organic, whether it's 100% or not.
Well,
and again, I think it's not, it's hard for all of us to follow those rules, and the goal is just to lean into those foods more.
Well, that leads me to our next question, because it's so important to be aware of toxins in our food. What should we be looking for or trying to eliminate?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And all of this sounds scary, toxins in our food and in our environment. And unfortunately, this is kind of the world that we live in, but we do the best job that we can. Currently in the US alone, there's over 80,000 toxins that are in chemicals that are registered for use with little known testing. So these are things like heavy metals, pesticides, pollutants, food additives, and plastics. But we do the best job that we can to minimize our exposure, and a few things that you can do are things like reducing highly processed foods in your diet, such as fast foods, foods that come in a box or that are frozen, a lot of canned foods. And a really great way to recognize these foods are look at the ingredient list. If it's more than a few ingredients and you don't recognize the ingredients, you should probably ditch it. Many of these foods also have unhealthy oils and fats, so things like vegetable oils and seed oils are linked to inflammation. Also, a lot of these foods are full of sugar, and so wherever we can reduce those foods in our diet, we're going to be better off. We also, a lot of the fast foods and box foods, what we call highly processed foods, have poor quality grains like wheat and corn that are laden with things like a chemical called glyphosate, which is Roundup. And again, all of this sounds scary as the consumer, but as we build more awareness in removing those boxed foods and leaning towards a whole food diet, it really sets us up for success. Another area I always like to mention is reduce foods that have artificial dyes. These are derived from petroleum foods that are found in actually thousands of foods. Those can include conventional breakfast cereals, candy, snacks, beverages. And the last thing I'd like to say is reduce plastic use. A lot of people are drinking out of plastic water bottles, and these have harmful plastics such as BPA and phthalates, which are known for hormone and endocrine disruptors. So anytime we can kind of ditch the plastic, buy in glass, we're really setting ourselves up for success.
You have a list of 7 detox-friendly foods. Can we take a look at a couple of them and talk about these?
Yes. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go ahead and check these out. So we have spirulina, we have chlorella. Tell us a little bit about all of these.
Yes, so let's start with cruciferous vegetables.
Okay.
So these are powerhouse superfoods, and these are things like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, Brussels sprouts. They're full of important nutrients and compounds that really rev up our system and support detoxification. Chlorella and spirulina, these foods people might not be so, familiar with, but chlorella is one of the best superfoods out there. It's full of phytonutrients, amino acids, and these things really support our body to actually bind to some of those toxins. The other foods that I'd love to include in my patients are things like organic green tea, and that includes matcha. These are full of antioxidants that support detoxification, and they're also brimming with polyphenols, which are really great for boosting immunity. The other one of my favorites is medicinal mushrooms, and a lot of people aren't familiar with these. Maybe more familiar with a mushroom called shiitake, but I love introducing people to mushrooms like reishi, and reishi has tons of research behind it, and these can boost our immune system and really boost our cellular function, aiding in detoxification.
That's some great information.
Other foods include ginger. Excuse me. So ginger is something that a lot of people, it's so convenient. We can buy it right in the grocery store. And so grating ginger in the foods that we're making on a regular basis or drinking ginger tea, these are full of nutritious properties that can really help boost our immunity and support our detox pathways.
That's some great information, and you actually make it sound less scary because, going into the organic world can be intimidating. So thank you so very much for being with us today. And if you want more information, please visit thesuperkitchenproject.com. Thank you so much.
Allie, very cool.
Good stuff.
She was talking about that plastic. They did some research on this,
right?
saying that the human, within a month, I think we all eat enough plastic in a year, the size of a credit card, because there's so much of it. So even despite having all those things that she mentioned, the containers that it comes in are even scarier.
She inspired me, I'll tell you that much.
Well, let's start to eat a little bit healthier.
Yes.
Do some good television watching. If you stick around, we'll fortify you with 9 essential vitamins and minerals as well.
Yep.
At least do our best trying to do so. We'll be back right after this.